glad you could join us online today. Our next experience will begin in just a few minutes, so sit back and enjoy.
Man, I love seeing people excited. I love seeing people excited for God and in a worshipful state. And, you know, here at Roots Church, if this is your first time, we welcome you. My name's Jason. I'm the pastor. And I like to mix things up a little bit. Sometimes we can get in this routine of mundane. And so I think it's good for us to shift some things around. And I think, a couple things before we get started. I want to remind you that last week we had a pretty heavy topic about love gives hope. And if you missed last week, I encourage you to go listen to it on our app. I feel like it'll really bless you. Had many people contact me and say, man, thank you so much. I needed to hear that, et cetera, because let's be honest. I mean, some of us are going through some pain in our life, and we need to know it's okay to ask God these tough questions because he would rather you ask him the questions than from you to turn from him. And, so it's just really trying to be liberating and being okay that we have these tough questions when we go through some pain in our life. But today, we're mixing it up. And today, I'm going to talk about a heart for the house. As Roots Church continues to grow, we're prepping for 2019. And I want to make sure that you know who our staff is, what we do. And I don't know, how many of you know the staff here at Roots Church? Let me see your hand. Yeah, so there's quite a few that don't know. Sometimes what happens is people will come to me and say, what do you guys do down there? I see vehicles at the church all the time, and your truck's always there. Don't you just show up on Sunday and speak? Man, I wish it was the case, because it would be a lot easier just to show up on a Sunday and speak. So us pastors have this joke, hashtag waiting on Sunday, because a lot of people think that's all we do is just show up on Sunday and speak. But believe me, we do so much more, and there's a team of people behind me or with me that keeps me lifted up and that keeps me doing these things. So before I bring them on stage, I've got two things I want to remind you of. One, we did Convoy of Hope one day last week. If you missed to give towards that, you can still do that today at our giving boxes that are back on the wall, or you can go online and give. One day is simply giving one day's wage to Convoy of Hope. That's what it's about, and we would love to see you partner with us and give. And those of you that have already given, we want to thank you. Those of you that support our church financially in a weekly tithe, or however it is that you give, we thank you for that. Your financial partnership helps us go beyond these four walls and continuing to reach people for Jesus Christ. So we want to thank you for that. The last thing I have is a save the date for you. Our marriage conference that we put on every year in March is going to happen on March the 29th and the 30th. So save the date. If you've never been, you will want to go to the marriage conference called Us Marriage Conference, March 29th and the 30th. This year's theme is called The Vow, and it's going to be awesome, and we're taking it up to the next level. And in January, we'll have some more details for you, but save the date, okay? So today, without further ado, I would like for you to give my team, my staff of Roots Church, a big warm welcome as they come up on stage with me this morning. Can we give them a hand? I could not do what I do without this team. And, I want today to be inspirational for you. I want you to know what they do and the heart behind it. They have a heart for the house. And our goal is for you to see the heart that goes into what we do week in and week out, and understand that this staff up here, some are paid full-time, some are part-time, and there's several that aren't paid at all. But they show up and they serve, and they come to our staff meetings every single Monday. We spend an hour in spiritual formation of in the Word, a devotion, a book, and prayer. And then we spend the next 2 hours talking about operations and ministry and stuff like that. So we spend that first hour in spiritual formation. I'm a very task-driven person, and I've had to learn to not be so task-driven when it comes to ministry. Obviously, you got to be task-driven to get things done, but what I didn't want to do is create a culture of just a bunch of task people. And that was happening. And I realized that that's what it was becoming, and I didn't want that. I want a staff and a church full of ministry, not task. And so we began to shift what the culture looks like. And I love the word culture. It has the word cult in it. For real, last night at the parade, how many of you went to the parade? You saw the rootschurch float. Was it not awesome? A live band traveling through town. Here's the cool part. They went through Evergreen Park, didn't know where to turn around, so let's just keep playing. So they went by the senior center. All the people at the senior center started opening up their doors and windows. And then they went through Clair Town. They started stepping out. They kept playing all the way through Clair Town. Guess what? Didn't stop. They went through Country Mart and played in the parking lot of Country Mart. It didn't stop. They went to R&R. They just kept going. It was the band that never ended. But then they get back and they're like, we need to do caroling like that. How cool would that be? Tractor trailer, semi. I could just see it going through the subdivisions with the Roots band on there and a bunch of carolers. So we're going to talk about it next year. I think it would be cool because why? We go big. All right? But in the midst of that, guess what happened? We had our young people passing out these little cards for our Christmas services, and somebody, they went to hand it to him. Somebody says, I don't want your cult card. They think we're a cult, and I was like, yes! If you're new here, I promise we're not a cult, and there will be no Kool-Aid for you after service. But here's what you need to know. Having a cult-like culture is vital to any organization. Why? The reason why we have over 230 volunteers in this church is because they believe in the mission and vision of Roots Church. And that is why it feels and looks like a cult, because we're all like a bunch of little ducklings doing the same thing. And that's okay. So this team makes this happen, and so I don't want to take up their time because it takes up the whole service to do this. So I want to start with Justin over here to my left. Justin is our worship pastor and our youth pastor. And yeah, he's been doing some amazing things. Him and his wife, I'll let him introduce them, but I love what they're doing. You already know what it means to be a youth pastor and a worship pastor, okay? But I want him to share the heart behind what he does. So just take a couple minutes and share with these guys.
For sure. So my name's Justin. If you don't know me, this is my wife, Brittany. She's beautiful. But we literally moved down here. I've been on staff here for over 2.5 years. We moved down here about a year and a half ago to come down and be the youth pastors, which is something, and if I can just talk to both, with youth, it's amazing. We see about 80 to 100 kids here every Wednesday night. We've seen over 150 kids accept Jesus for the first time, which is awesome. But what we do is, man, we keep it real, and we keep it raw, and we're honest, and we're real about what actually happens. Like, sometimes life sucks, but God is still good, and we want to make sure the kids understand that we can push through times with God's strength and God's peace. And we have an amazing youth team, too. We have some adults on there and some teenagers, actually, too, that are just like, they're so gung-ho about your teenagers and them coming here and them being able to experience God, a real relevant message. We play some games. I pied a kid in the face the other week. It's awesome. Like, we have a lot of fun here, and it's a good time. Like, so much so that we have a girl that's on our team. She got in an accident, in a four-wheeler accident, and shattered her leg and literally had to have surgery and screws and plates put in her leg. And she did it on a Monday or a Tuesday. Yeah, she did it it was a Monday. And then the Wednesday, at 8 a.m., we do setup for youth. She beat me here, and she's in a wheelchair. Like, that's how important it is that our team cares about the teenagers here at our church. And we had a teenager over last night. Their family's going through divorce right now, and we're just helping coach them through. And there's so many meetings and things that happen that people just don't see, but we genuinely care. And we know that if a teenager can have just one adult in their life that just cares, that cares what they're going through, that cares about their sport, their recital, whatever it is they're doing, it can make the world a difference. And also, it's an honor just to lead worship, to be able to be a worship pastor. And it's not just up here singing songs. That's not what we do. This isn't a big, giant Christian karaoke event. This is us coming together and worshiping a true God, a living God, a God that is good, always, never changes. He can sustain you because he made you. He knows you. And we want to make sure that we constantly keep that in front of us. And our team up here, we have a great team. We have a lot of people that sometimes you don't see. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff too, but we literally just love watching and being a part of leading you into worship, because that's what it's all about. We come in here, and if just for a moment we can lay aside baggage, we can lay aside the struggles, and we can actually encounter Jesus through song, through whatever that looks like. And we know that everyone worships different. Like, we have the people that are just like hands high, let's go. We have the people that like, carrying baby Jesus. We have the people that, or like standing here like this, like, whoa, what is this? This is crazy. But there's no difference. Everyone gets to enter the kingdom the same way. And so we know that, and we understand that people worship different. And so it's just an honor to be able to hang out and be able just to worship Jesus. Like this morning, so cool. I mean, I'm vertically challenged, so when I'm sitting down, you guys are standing up taller than me. It's kind of depressing, but it's also amazing because I can hear your voices. And in your voices is a cry to God. We need a powerful God. We need a wonderful God. And we need to sometimes remind our soul that he still is good and powerful enough to change your situation. And so it's an honor to be able to do what I get to do on staff here at this church.
Yes, I love having Justin. Yeah. Love having him on the team. Amy, over here to my right, Amy's been a part of Victory Church before it was rootschurch. If you didn't know, we rebranded in 2015 when my wife and I took over Victory Church at the time. We'll talk about the founding pastor here in just a minute, but Amy's been a part of this church since she's been a child, just like us, and grew up in the church. But now Amy is serving on staff here, and Amy's been such a huge blessing to me. On staff. She oversees director of ministries. Any ministry in the church, she oversees it. She is hands-on. She is dealing with volunteers and helping with volunteers, navigate all that. But more importantly, just being here and being a part and having the vision of ministries of what that looks like, she helps make that happen. Her new role going into 2019 is also going to be our group's director. So overseeing all of the groups that happen in church, because we're taking groups to a whole nother level. Her and her husband are going to be handling that. We're excited about what that looks like. And so I just want Amy to share briefly what that looks like for her and what the future looks like when it comes to groups and her heart for the house.
So my husband and I have been coming here consistently since I was 19 years old, so it's been 22 years now. I absolutely love getting to be a part of staff. These people on this stage, they've become a family to me. Monday through the work week has become my favorite day of the week. I don't know how many people can actually say that they love Mondays, but I love it to be able to come in and brainstorm and pray for the people of this church and this town and be a part of something so huge and crazy big that our God is doing, and it just blesses me so much. As far as speaking about groups, if you are sitting in this room right now and you are not a part of Roots, I don't think that my words can encourage you enough that you need to make that happen. Yeah. Roots does so many things amazingly well here, but one of the most ultimate things that we do, I just am so impressed by how well this church does relationships. There is nothing that you can go through in life that you don't need people for, the good, the bad, all of those things. And if you are a part of groups, you are going to connect with people. You literally will it's going to be like a little family. And you're going to have people that are there for you no matter what you're going through, to celebrate with you, to cry with you, to pray with you, to reach out to you in those moments when you need it most. And so I just want to encourage you, and I want to challenge you to step out. If you're nervous about something like that, please reach out to us, because this is something that you want to be a part of and you will not regret it.
Yeah, in groups, as we grow bigger, we go smaller in groups. That's how we do it, because, obviously our church wants to be big so we can reach a lot of people, but we go smaller in groups. And groups will take place, we assimilate groups in January, and then they start in February. And I'm real excited. One thing that's important for groups is a lot of you might know or not know, but Amy and her family is going through a trying time right now with some things that have happened. If it wasn't for this family and the people in her life to come around her and love on her, it'd be a bigger challenge than what it is when you have people around you. It's very, very important to get involved and be a part of something so much bigger than us. This is bigger than all of us on this stage, but we're grateful that we have the opportunity to do it, and I can't wait to see how groups are going to form. We had over 160 people in groups last semester, and I want to see, I would love to see, a participation of 100%. I know that may not happen, but I mean, even if we had 75%, relationships are vital. And I promise you, those that are group leaders that were kind of reluctant to do that at first, now they love it. And they're like, we love the opportunity to do what we're doing. So groups are really, really important. Let's shift gears over here and talk about our founding pastor, Pastor Charles over here. Yep. 35 years. And Pastor Charles's role, the biggest role for him is a supportive role to me. That's the biggest role. If he wasn't in the position that he is as being that supportive, this wouldn't be happening the way it is. It's vital for him to be in that role, and I couldn't tell you how awesome it is for him to be in that role. But another role for him is a teaching pastor. He does spiritual formation, so the class sessions where we go deeper in our walk with God of talking about a specific book in the Bible or a specific topic, that's something he does. The Sunday is a great message. I mean, I'm the dude with the food, right? But he's also the dude with the food throughout the week, that you can come here on a Sunday night or on a Tuesday night, and you can be fed the Word of God and go deeper into the Bible. A lot of people want that. That's what this man right here is getting ready to do. He was doing it before the accident, had a little setback, but guess what? We're picking it back up in January, so I'm happy about that. So share just a little bit about that role and why you do what you do.
Why I do what I do.
Because you could have quit a long time ago.
I could have. I do what I do because I love people, and I love to see people change. And one of the core values that stands out to me is that it's about others and not yourself. And so, you know, it's easy to get into that place where it's about you and about, you know, the task and everything else. But when I look out here and I see your faces, you know, that's what drives me. When I see your face, I see possibility. I see God. I see what God can do to change your life. I know there's a lot of hurt and a lot of things that go on in this world. It's hard. And this is a safe haven. This is a safe place where you can come and be nurtured. And when I look at you, I want to put into you. I want to put something in you that'll make you stronger. That's what Jesus does to us. He wants to put something in us to make us a stronger person, so we can live life. And not only that, but that we can touch other people on the way. And that's what the objective is. You know, I like I said, I had an accident, and as you well know, and I always tell this. I probably tell a lot of people this, but it's just such a impactful thing to me that no matter what circumstance you're in, no matter what, you know, I'm laying on the street, never been in an accident before, but here I lay, and you know, I'm asking God what happened. Like last week, the pastor was talking about the situation. You know, you might find yourself in, why, God? Why is this? And so I was laying there, and I was thinking, you know, I was trusting you to protect me and to keep me from this, but I'm laying there conscious. And my mouth still worked, you know, and everything else didn't work very well, but my mouth still worked, and it was like I was complaining, you know, about where I was and the circumstance I found myself in, which is not good. I mean, it wasn't good, but thinking about all the things I couldn't do now, but it's just like this voice came up inside of me and said, "Get on point. Get on point. It's not about you. It's about me. It's about others. And I have things for you to do. I have people that you need to touch and talk to and minister to. No matter where. I mean, I'm laying on the street, and I'm hearing this. And that gave me the hope to stay strong and to notice it's not about me. It's not about me, and I know God's going to take care of me, and He has, and He is, and it looked bleak then, but I know that God is going to take care of me. But I'm telling you, when you're on point like that, and I want to put into people, and that's why I want to teach the Word. I want to teach and let God's Word come into your life and see you grow and flower and flourish, so you have a stronger understanding. And I had plenty of opportunity to put into people when I was in the nursing home or wherever it was. It was kind of, but I mean, I was the right age, you know what I'm saying? But I had ample opportunity to minister to people, and because people are hurt everywhere, you know, even in the therapists and the nurses. So
Here's the great thing about that. The great thing is that you need to understand is no matter where he was in his life, he was still had a purpose.
right.
In that place of rehabilitation, it was kind of like a nursing home or whatever. But let me tell you something. Guess what he did? Everybody knows him. Everybody knows what he does, and they know his heart behind it. And I can tell you there's no greater person to be teaching God's word in the depths that he does than this man right here. I've learned my foundation from him, literally. And so no matter your age, no matter your challenges, even if you can't use your arms fully, which he's working on because of the accident, he said it right, his mouth still works. And thankfully it does, because we're grateful to have him a part of this team and be able to spiritually input. I can't do everything. That's why we have this team of people to help us in gifts that is better than me in areas. It's not that I can't teach God's word, but trust me, he has 35 years of experience of teaching God's word. So why not give you the best of the best on those classes? And so I love having him, so thank you. I'm going to switch over to my right. Blake back here on the back right is on staff here. What I love about Blake came on just because it started out as just a friendship. Honestly, Blake and I started hanging out, and it all started when we had the fire here. I didn't really know much about Blake, but he came up and we reran some lines and different things, and he came up to help with the project, and I just started this relationship, and I'm very grateful that God has brought him into my life, because that's probably the biggest role, in my opinion, that he serves for me, is just being a very good friend to me. And it's very hard to find somebody who has a complete opposite personality of me and still likes me. That's the truth. And Blake and I have opposite personalities, but he still likes me, and I still like him. So that's important too. But his role here is he is the director of operations. So he oversees all the operations of the church. Him and Amy work hand in hand together, and they take on a lot of different hats. A new role that Blake is stepping into is our chief financial officer. So our CFO, he's going to oversee the budget of the church. We are a non-for-profit organization. What does that mean? We spend your money, and all of it. Okay? And Blake is going to help say, okay, let's spend it, but we got to go over here, or you want to do this, and if we're going to do that, we can't do this. And he keeps us all on track with the budget along with the Nell, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I want Blake just to share a little bit his heart for the house and how he got to come to Roots Church and why he does what he does.
Well, for me, I've been here about two and a half years, and my wife and I were talking, you know, we got to do something different, and we keep seeing our friends post about Roots Church. So, I mean, what is it about Roots Church? Why are they posting? I mean, really? So we check it out, and from the beginning, I see their passion. And I've never been to a church that felt fun, honestly. I mean, it was, from the time we came, you could tell these people love what they do, and they have fun doing it. So that really drew me in to want to be here. Like most of you, I come here, I wanted some comfort, right? But instead, I found people that I can connect with and contribute to. So I started as an usher 2 years ago when we came, and just kind of learning about the church. And the more time I spend here, I see core values of what we do, and I start understanding why. And I think that's the biggest thing for me here is they helped identify within me, you know, my biggest struggles. One of the core values is sacrifice. You know, I didn't want to give up the things that I love to sacrifice for what we do here, but I've learned that there's so much more to get by giving. And that's been a life change for me. And I really appreciate everything that they've done for me here personally. And that's why I love this place. I just want to give back to everybody else that's here. As Jason said, a couple weeks ago we announced we purchased a building across the street. And with my new role, that's going to be a big challenge because we want to keep doing more within the community. We want to use our influence and reach outside of St. Clair, Union, Washington, Franklin County. I mean, we have people coming from St. Louis County. And so to do that, I mean, I have some goals for us. Nobody wants to be bound by a bank, by finances. So I want to see us move in that direction and be able to give back. I mean, how awesome would it be to next Mother's Day or just down the road be able to give 4 or 5 brand new cars away to single moms that we just want to show that we love them and
cool would that be?
We're here for them. But that's really where I'm at, what I do, and I just love, like Amy said, Monday is her favorite day. Sunday is my favorite day. I get to see lives change like my life has changed in the past 2 years. And Monday is my second favorite day because I get to spend it with my family up here that coach and help me be a better father, better leader, better husband. So
it's cool. Love having you, man. I will say this. I would ask you to ask these guys their story personally because they all have a very good story. There's just not enough time to share. Even what we're sharing now, there's just not enough time to share it all. But every one of these guys have an amazing story. So go up to them and ask them, what is your story? And let them share with you. The next person is Brittany over here to my left. This is Justin's wife, the better half right here. He agrees, right? That's hilarious. Brittany actually is our children's director. We just hired her on part-time 2 weeks ago. Very excited to have her as our children's director. Guess what? Your kids are important to us. Very, very important. She oversees the age of 0 all the way up to 5th grade on Sunday mornings, but because she's also the youth pastor's wife, she gets to help with your kids that are in 6th grade to high school. So she literally sees all of the kids. All of them from very beginning to the very end, and I actually think that's a pretty cool opportunity. But would you just share a little bit about why you love doing what you do and the wins that we get and kind of some of the goals for the future?
Yeah, I am so honored to be able to be in this position. Kids have been a passion of mine for years, and it's cool to see how God has brought it full circle for me. But one of our main goals is to create a space for kids to feel safe, for kids to feel excited about church and to want to come back because how important is it that when you drop your kids off and they say, Mommy, can we come back next week? Like that's huge. And so that's really important for me and our team is to create that environment where they can learn at their level and just to have fun. One of our core values is passion. We love what we do and we have fun doing it. And that is absolutely necessary when you're dealing with children. And I don't know, sometimes you can hear in Zone 4 the music bumping and they're jumping around back there and praising Jesus. And we get to instill those fundamental values into them at a young age. And there's so many fulfilling things for us, but one is just to, when the kids are so excited and they're running down that hallway because they want to participate in everything that we have for them, but then they get to run back in excitement and say, hey, Mommy, look what I made today, or Daddy, look what our memory verse is. And I get messages from parents during the week or even a month later with recordings of their kids saying the memory verse or them saying the theme for the month. And that is so cool because they get it. They're young, but they get it. And we absolutely value your children. And we want to partner with you guys as parents to help build them into strong, confident, godly leaders. And we want to come alongside you as parents to help you and equip you do the same at home. And our team of volunteers, Your Roots Kids volunteers, love your kids. They have a passion for God, and they have a passion for your kids. And I personally love our team. And one of the other things that I absolutely love is that Pastor Jason and this whole entire team have one heartbeat for these kids, and it's to come to know Jesus. And we want all kids welcome. All people are welcome. All kids are welcome. And one of the things that's near and dear to my heart are children with special needs. And it's so important for families to feel comfortable and confident that their children are going to be taken care of in all areas. And we have some people on our team that are special ed teachers and that are they're specific and in that area, and we utilize that. And we have one family in particular where they've been coming for a while, and they were really nervous about bringing their son with autism. And I love it. I love the joy that kids bring in general, and it's so important for us to have a space for them too. And so he's been coming, and the first time he walked in, he ran to the teacher. One of our teenagers was actually teaching that day, And she open-armed embraced him, and he has been opening up week after week with consistency to come. And one of our other teachers was like, Brittany, he's talking to me now. He's actually communicating with me. And to see that and to be able to give the love of Jesus to them and all kids is just, it's so important. And now that family, both parents get to serve on a Sunday morning, and they don't have to worry because we are specific to every child, and every child is unique in every way. And I'm really excited because in the new building, when we get in there, we're actually going to get to create an environment and a specific space that can reach the mental and physical and sensory needs of any kid, of any child, and we can tailor our lessons. We can tailor our lesson plans to their needs, and every child is unique. So we know that we have age-specific rooms, but not all kids are ready at the same time to move up. Some are ready to move up early, some are not. And we are we want to work with you, and we want to make sure that they're comfortable. So we work with you guys, and that's something that's really important for us, for all the kids to be able to go at their pace and what they need. So
it is a blessing to have people in your church that work with children with special needs. When you talk to those parents, one of the biggest challenges is we have a hard time going to church because it feels like they don't want us, that's not the case. You guys know that with any church. No church would ever be that way. But part of it is because they don't have the ability to deal with it. It takes someone special and educated to be able to help with this. And we want you to know, if you know someone, a family or any of that, please let them know about our church, because we embrace that. Every single person needs to be treated the same way, and every single person, child, adult, it doesn't matter, needs to have a place that they can come and call church their home. We want Roots Church to be that church, that we can help them in that. And I love having team members that say, yes, we embrace that, bring that on, and we're going to help you make that happen. And that's what's going to be able to happen in the new facility, and I am thrilled that we have a place to do that. So it's pretty exciting. Thank you for sharing. Anel over here to my right. Anel's been a part of Victory Church for quite some time under Pastor Charles's leadership. And when Aaron and I stepped into this role, it's something that she wanted to carry on. Anel has the title of office manager and also my personal assistant. Now, if you know me very well, you know that in itself is a full-time job, because I am like a squirrel when I do things. And so she has to keep track of me and keep track of things that I do, and she does an amazing job at it, and I don't know what I would do without her, honestly. It would be a bad day if Anel was not here anymore. And so that's how valuable she is to me, for sure. But I would like just Anel to share just for a second about her role here, or really why she's here and doing what you're doing.
The passion that this church has had from day one, 12 years ago. Even whenever I didn't see it, it was there. And the grace, this team, this family, they've become my family. And keeping them in line, they're more like keeping me in line a lot of times. So it's just the passion that they have, and for everyone. This is why we do it. Just like the other day, there's no perfect people allowed, and that's why we're here.
And Anel's job, what she does, most people will never see. They will never see what Anel does behind the scenes. They just don't, and that's okay. When we do our jobs right, a lot of times you won't see what we do because we're just doing what we love. And thankfully, we have someone like Anel who is administrative in that side, that takes care of all the admin behind the scene things that most people don't realize what we do as a church and as an organization. And so we're very grateful for Anel, and we love having her. I have no greater joy than to announce this next person sitting to my left. This is my son. This is our son. This is our son, Austin, our oldest, and it is a privilege that we were able to hire Austin on full-time a few weeks ago, or maybe it was a little longer than that, but anyway, it doesn't matter. We've hired him on full-time. His role is communications and marketing and production. communications marketing. It's all of the Facebook, all the social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, the church app, the website, the online streaming, all of that is his team. Bringing excellence and making us look good, making me look good when they're snapping 480-something pictures a weekend to try to get the one because I move so quickly. No lie. I have to pause, but his team does that, and I'll let him share a little bit because I want to kind of wrap up on the production side to not mislead you on what that looks like, but go ahead and just share.
Yeah, so when we say production, we just mean this experience that happens in here. And it's cool because I don't know that everybody in here understands exactly what that means. Our overall goal of why we do what we do, or why I do what I do, is ultimately so that way you guys, your families, can come in this place and receive a word from Pastor Jason, receive enter into worship, and that's our overall goal in this area. And so, it's not about, when we say production, we're not producing anything. We're not manufacturing anything. We are removing the distractions that could happen. We are excellent in our preparation, but we are ultimately trying to do this. We're trying to connect people with God. And so I think that's important to note. And, the reason why I do what I do, and I don't know how many people know this, but for a while I actually didn't attend here. I actually, we had a little bit of a falling out. We had a little bit of a falling out, a little bit of a change in difference.
Tell everybody.
But not for one second was I forsaken in what, how I was treated, how I was, thought of, and how I was loved. And so I've heard so many stories about how, I was just talking to a couple in the cafe, and they just said, we've been coming here for 2.5 years, and we just absolutely love that we are not expected to be perfect, but that we are changed lives, changing lives.
Yeah.
And so that is what we get to do. And so, yeah, the production's great. Yeah, the marketing is cool. We got to protect the logo. We got to protect the brand, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, we're changing lives. And so that's why I love to do what I do. So
that's awesome, yeah. It's great. I love being able to work with Austin. As you know, when you work with your family, there's always challenges. He's a lot like me in some areas, and he's a lot like Aaron in other areas, and so those can bring challenges, but I am so grateful that he's a part of this team. He has just as much passion as I do to see you guys go to the next level in your walk with God, and we do that by creating an environment. Production is not what we do. We are not here to produce. We are not here to perform worship. We are here to lead you in worship. We are here to take away distractions. That's why we put our heart and soul into these services and the way things look and presented. One of our core values is we give our best because he gave his best. That doesn't mean we're perfect. It means we bring excellence. I hear people say, well, Pastor wants it to be perfect. No, I do not. I want it to be excellent. Excellence is what it's about. Because Jesus gave his best, we should give our best to you and anybody else that's out there. And I feel like that's one thing that Austin does in a lot of these areas. We actually have a couple watching from North Carolina regularly on our online, and it's amazing to see them. How you doing, North Carolina? But it's so cool to see people not from just this state that is a part of our church, and it feels like a part of our church because we value them. The next person sitting over here to my right is Brian Nieves. Brian is the newest member to our team, and we're not 100% sure yet that what Brian's role is going to be long term, but right now what we do know is he's overseeing our men in the church. That's something that I cannot really do and put my heart and soul in it because there's just too many other things that I got to keep track of. The main thing being the Sunday experience. My word that I'm preparing for you guys is the most important, and then being with this team. So Brian is going to be helping lead our men, but one of the other things that Brian's going to do is help develop leaders and help develop us up as staff members of being better leaders. He has a gift in this, and it's something that he's done. He's an ordained pastor from his previous church, and the reason why he left there, he can kind of explain, but the base is his pastor retired. He's been there for 20 plus years. The pastor retired, and so his family started coming here, and guess what? They went like this, and Brian's a fisherman, and they hooked him in the collar and said, you got to come. And I'll let him share a little bit, but he's here now, and we are grateful to have this man on our team and to be a part, and I'm looking forward to the future of what he's going to bring to us.
So after 20 plus years of being at our previous church, just as Pastor Jason said, we started having our pastor retired, and we started having some friends, and even my family members, my adult children, started coming here, and they were all telling me about this church. And I'm like, look, there ain't no church that's that good. I mean, come on. When they would tell me about Roots, I really would, because I've been in church pretty much my entire adult life. I love church, don't get me wrong. It's just that to think that there could be a church like this was a little bit beyond my belief level. And so I started coming here. My wife and I started coming here, and we had an affiliation with Pastor Charles back when I was your senator for this area. After I became ordained, Pastor Charles sometimes would have me come in and give a biblical perspective on what was happening at our state capitol. And so I was familiar with what was then Victory Church, and I was friends with Jason before he was Pastor Jason, right? So my history with this church family goes back a while. And so I expected it to be wonderful. I expected it to be good, but I didn't expect it to be this, right? I didn't expect it to be the kind of organization, the kind of family, right? Because that's what we are here. We're a family. I didn't expect it to be the kind of family that lives up to this phrase, we do what others won't so that we can touch who others don't, right? And so one of the things that I noticed here was that there's a culture in this church, and that's one of the things that I do out in the corporate world is I help corporations to develop culture within their leadership. And the reason for that, just imagine this in your mind. Culture is truly what leads. So the leaders create a culture, and then that culture is what leads the organization. And to describe that, I always tell people, imagine when you were a kid and you got into one of those above ground round swimming pools. How many of you, raise your hand if you've ever been in an above ground round swimming pool, right? Okay. And so I bet you did this. We would all kind of start going in the same way around the pool, around the pool, around the pool. And what would that do? That would create a current inside the pool. And once you got that going, you could literally lift up your feet, and what would happen? That current would keep you going around, right? Well, that's the way good culture works in organizations. And I walked in here and I saw a culture unlike anything I had ever seen in any other church. A culture that loves people where they are. A culture that says, we will do what others won't so that we might reach those who others don't, right? And so when we talk about we want everybody to be touched by this church, it's not just the people who are obviously hurting. I do a lot of corporate work. Let me just tell you something. The people who look good, smell good, seem to be at the top of their game, the C-level executives at corporations have problems, right? I mean, every once in a while we look at them and we say, I'd like to have their kind of problem. No, we probably wouldn't like to have their kind of problems, right? Everybody's got problems, but here's the thing. This culture, this environment says, come on, just come be a part of this. We'll love you where you're at. If you're at the top of your game, we'll love you at the top of your game. If you're temporarily at the bottom of your game, we'll love you. If you're a C-level executive or if you're an unemployed ditch digger, it doesn't matter, right? And so the cool thing that I see here and why I want to be a part of this is because I see that we can take that culture even deeper. Yeah. And we can help people to become even stronger and build their relationship with the God who created them. Think about it. The God who created the entire universe knows us by name, right? Yeah. And wants to be involved in our lives, and we can lead people into that to go even deeper and deeper.
Yeah, it's amazing to have. What a great analogy of the culture. That is exactly why we see such a shift in movement in our community right now, because we set that type of culture. It doesn't happen by itself. It takes a team of people like this. Our volunteer dream team is a part of that culture, and now you guys are a part of that, and we are just riding that wave, or we're riding that current, and I love what we're doing. My wife over here, her role, because she does have a role, her biggest role for me is her supportive role to me. As a pastor, there's nobody else that the enemy tries to attack than us, and it's every day. We put our boxing gloves on every day, and it's not because we're boxing, although that's every other day, okay? But every day we got our boxing gloves on because the enemy is real, and he does not want this to happen. If he gets right here, he gets here, and then he gets to the next level, and then he destroys the church. And so my wife and I it's a fighting battle every day. If there's one thing that you can do for us, it's always be praying. Always be praying for us of wisdom and patience and all those great things, grace, because we need it. And so her role is a supportive role to me. She doesn't have a lead role in the church. She sings on the worship team. She's a lead worship singer, obviously, and she helps in some other areas on an as-needed basis. But the role is to be a mom and to be a wife and then to support me as the pastor of the church. And so I'll just let her share a little bit more about that.
You know, and as that is my deepest and greatest is desires to support him and be everything he needs. It's very important because he carries a lot, he carries a load. And but, you know, my heart for this house is when I see you, you know, as a whole, when I see this team. The 30,000-foot view is what we're looking at all times, and it's such an amazing, amazing view to see everyone that's attending, everyone that's coming, everyone that's fired up and excited and just wanting to go to the next level with us. And so my heart for this house is that when I look out and see these faces and see the drive that you have and the excitement that you have and the faith that you have in us and in this church and to impact the lives and the communities, and no telling who else is going to come from wherever, online, whatever, but that's cool to me. So
It's an honor to be in our positions. I'm just telling you right now, it is an honor, and any leader, pastor would love to be in this position that we're in with this team and with you guys being here. It's not the same without you. Aaron and I, we were somewhere the other day. We had this happen to us all the time, and they say hi to us, and we have no idea who they are. And it's kind of scary because you do not realize the people that you're influencing that don't even come here, that hear all about this team and about this church. And so you got to be careful of what you're doing outside of here because it's important. All the eyes are on you.
Thank you for joining us online for today's message. If God is impacting your life through this ministry, join us in reaching others and partnering with us today. You can give at myrootschurch.com/giving, or you can click the giving tab below. Be sure to join us next week at 10 or 11:30 a.m. See you next time.